Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Gaming Lounge Podcast, episode 48. Once again, I'm your host, Sebastian, and as always, I'm joined by Dory. How's everything going, Dory?
Hello, it's been a busy day for me. Kim and I went to the animal shelter to go check out dogs and stuff, and had a very good experience. So we'll see where that goes. Also went to Denny's today. That was fun. Grand Slam is still, a Grand Slam. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know baseball. But yeah, happy to be here. We're going to talk about some video games. I know, surprising. We're going to talk about Marathon, which I am not excited for, but Outer Worlds 2, which I'm very excited for. There is also a showcase. We've got a few different spotlights to have to do, specifically Metal Eden and First Breaker Khazan, and of course, South of Midnight. So excited to talk about all that with you. And yeah, it's been a pretty good week. I'm looking forward to talking about all these new games that are coming out. Not so much the first one, though.
So, today we got a showcase and reveal of Marathon, which is Bungie's next game. And they gave us a whole showcase. I want to say it was like 40 minutes or an hour. But it was like it was a trailer that was quite short, and then it was a bunch of people talking for like 20 minutes, and then it was like 15 minutes or 20 minutes of gameplay of streamers playing the game, and then it was more interviews. They recorded it in a live studio, so there was like a live audience clapping and stuff. The whole thing for me was kind of odd in that sense, but we'll talk about that. All right, so Marathon is Bungie's first-person team-based extraction shooter. It's their next game. They've been hyping it for a long time now, and people are excited or were excited for it. It was Bungie is the people that made Halo, so they're one of those pioneers in the genre and the industry, and people think highly of them. Destiny's has been a big success for Bungie and Sony. Sony owns Bungie, of course. They bought them for $4 billion. And people are saying that Sony regrets this purchase, and they probably do. But we'll talk about that. All right, so right off the bat, I found the game to be quite generic. I really dig the art style. I think it looks cool. Like, I think the world itself looks cool. Like, if it was like Destiny, or it was more of like a MMO, like story driven game or single player or whatever, then I think this game could have had something going for it. But an extraction shooter is such a tough genre to get into, especially if it's going to be $40, which it sounds like it's going to be $40. They said premium price. When people hear premium, they tend to think $70 now $80, but it lines up with like Helldivers 2, which make $40. But even $40 is risky because there's so many free to play games like this, and then you're gonna combine that with like a battle pass, which is confirmed. That's quite an investment for people to try out a new IP. This game, obviously, these kind of games require immediate player base. Like, these games can die on arrival. Like, any of these kind of games, if they don't start off strong on Steam or whatever, or on PlayStation, they die really fast. And if they do start off strong, they could still die in a couple months. So it's very risky, this genre. I thought the gameplay was just, it wasn't terrible by any means. It was just meh. That's how I felt with the whole thing. It was just meh. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not my genre. It was never for me anyway. I was never excited for this game. But I kept my eye on it just because it's Bungie. And yeah, it's not for me. But if you are interested in it, the beta begins on April 23rd. And it's going to be North American focused. You can play as 4 of the 6 runners at launch. I think that's the classes. This game is a class system like Destiny. And you can sign up to play test it in their Discord. So that's the way to sign up for the beta. You have to go on their Discord. This game is launching on September 23rd, which is the same day as Borderlands 4, which is very odd to me because even though they're very different genres, they're both like first person shooters. And yeah, you're not competing against them in terms of the genre, but you're competing against them in terms of people's time. And people are not going to play two different games the same day, if you know what I mean. So if somebody who's interested in this game and they wanted Borderlands more, now you just lost a customer initially because they're gonna play Borderlands instead. So I just thought that was odd. You can put any other date. I don't know why I just put it there.
Very weird.
As I said, it's reportedly $40, but it's not confirmed yet by them. It's a safe bet. But I think they did confirm that it's not 70. I think the journalist on Twitter confirmed that. As I said, there's a battle pass that's confirmed. That's not a surprise. There's 3 maps at launch, which I guess, from my understanding, in extraction shooters, usually they launch with 1 map. So this one launches with 3, so that's cool, I guess. And a 4th map is going to launch shortly after as well. So 3 maps at launch, battle pass, $40, and launching on September 23rd. Tori, did you watch anything about this game, or?
I did.
It happened today, so
look, I love Bungie, or I loved Bungie. I grew up on Halo 1, 2, and 3. I tried ODST and enjoyed a little bit of that too. But after that, and I gave Infinite a shot. At the time, I didn't have a controller, so it's a whole thing. And I didn't have a mouse like I do now. So I loved Bungie, and I know that they didn't do Infinite, so I don't even know why I said that. 343 did Infinite. But anyway, I loved Bungie, but now I don't really care for what they do. I never cared about Destiny. I know it was a big success for them. Great. But they've not treated their employees very well. I speak from personal experiences, having friends who worked in Bungie. They've not treated their employees very well as far as I'm concerned. I don't really like where they're going in terms of the extraction shooter PvP model that they have, more importantly. It's just not for me, similar to Seb. I agree with Seb that the aesthetic is very cool. I like the look. I think the character models or faces look kind of plasticky or weird, and that's not great. But overall, like, the environments look really nice, and I really like that. I know some people think it's like neon vomit or whatever, but I like, there's so many games these days who are just gray. So it's nice to see a game really embrace color. Now, maybe it goes too far in that direction. I don't know. I don't really care because I'm not going to play it. But from what I've seen from the trailers and now the gameplay, it looks good. I don't really care about the gameplay. I mean, the gameplay is fine. It's Bungie, so I would expect the gameplay to be good. There's an IGN preview that I watched, which is mostly complimentary about the gunplay and getting to play with friends, but that's when you're getting to play for free. I don't know how people are going to feel when they have to pay for $40. I'm very worried, and a lot of people are already saying this is going to be Conquered too. And I'd hate to see that happen to Bungie, but I mean,
happened to Sony twice.
Yes. The problem is that every time these companies get involved in extraction shooters or battle royales or big genres that are blowing up, they are too late. They are years too late. Happened with Suicide Squad, happened with Conquered, and now it might happen with Bungie, with Marathon. I just don't understand why companies keep shooting themselves in the foot over and over and over again. It's getting exhausting, and I don't even like these kind of games, but it's frustrating to see it put out over and over. Like, Bungie has such talent, or did have such talent before they started firing a bunch of their employees, but had such a pool of talent that they could have used to make a really compelling. I'm not saying you can't do extraction shooters, by the way, or that people can never make them again, but they have to be. And this is like a part where I think innovation really does matter, because often Seb and I will say, and I'll say later in this podcast about a couple games, innovation is not the be all end all for games. I appreciate innovation. I like it in my video games, of course. I like new things. I like it when companies try new things, but it's not the be all end all. But when you are doing a game that is in such a crowded market, like an extraction shooter or a battle royale or something like Suicide Squad was doing, I don't even remember what that genre is called, like a looter shooter, team-based, whatever. It's you have to. What's that?
Extraction.
Yeah, extraction. You have to make it. It has to be incredible. It can't just be good. It can't just be. Bungie can't just coast based on its name value its company's value, its history, Destiny, you know, the line of games, the through line that they have for Halo and Destiny. They can't just skate by on that anymore. It's got to be incredible. It's got to be innovative to some degree. I'm not saying it's got to completely reinvent the extraction shooter genre, but it's got to do something new, something different, something fresh. And the newest thing I see here is just a hard line, uncompromising stance that as when you lose all your loot. It's kind of roguelite in a way. I don't really like that. And I think the IGN reviewer, I apologize, I don't remember his name, but he points this out about halfway through. He spends about half the it's funny, spends about half the first review going like, this was really fun. I really enjoyed my time. The combat was really fun and movement felt good and the environments are beautiful. And then comes the but, right? The other half of it is like, but I have concerns. Like, what about people who constantly die over and over and over again to people who have much better loot than them? That's going to be completely demoralizing, and they've paid $40 for it. And famously, if you buy through Sony, you can't get refunds, at least in most cases. So that's $40 down the toilet, right? If you are losing over and over again to people with better loadouts, you're never going to get a better loadout, and you're just going to quit the game. It's just going to be frustrating, and you're not going to want to play. For a lot of people, not for everybody, but for a lot of people. Now, of course, if you're really skilled, allegedly Bungie has made it possible to even the playing field, and maybe you'll be able to get some loot back. I think that there's something called like a sympathy package. If you die a lot, you get like a basic like setup that's decent, right? But nothing amazing. Also, the other problem is that after every season, everything resets. So all of your hard work just gone. And like I know like they're gonna remix it, they're gonna add new mods or add new guns or add new environments. So everyone's starting on the even playing field. But I mean that's hours and hours of dying and killing and grinding and getting loot and losing loot. Like it just to me, I personally, and I, again, this is not my genre, so I can't speak for everybody who loves this kind of stuff. Maybe you sickos are out there and this sounds awesome to you. Hey, God be with you. Go enjoy it. But to me, that sounds like a huge waste of my time. After every season, I have to lose everything I've earned through hundreds of hours or whatever it is. I'll pass on that. So yeah, this is a game that is not for me. And I don't, if it's $40, it's going to flop. I don't think Bungie can get by on its name alone. I know that they want to tout how great Destiny was for them, but I mean, honestly, some parts of Destiny 2 were not very good. Were maligned by the fan base. I'm not saying all of it, but there were definitely later updates that were either unbalanced or the story sucked or whatever. And here, there's barely any story. The IGN guy said that there's some hints about a story, and like the robots are like made out of like these cybernetic caterpillar. I almost said caterpillars that are weaving together these robots, and you're being uploaded to this metaverse thing. Sorry, not metaverse. Facebook, don't sue me. But yeah, it's just I don't know. It's funny because this game is all about like a dystopian future where like this. I don't know exactly what's going on, but I presume like some kind of rich corporation owns like this big giant cybernetic universe that puts all of these people in their bodies. But really, like the IGN reviewer said it best, or a previewer, I should say, because the game's not out, not out till September. But he said basically, if the model works how he thinks it might, it's just the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. And I don't think that's going to vibe with a lot of people. So anyway, I've talked enough about this game. It's not for me, and I think honestly, even the people who it is for aren't going to be willing to shell out $40, or if they are, the model is going to be very demoralizing for them. So that's my. I could be wrong. Maybe it's a huge success like Helldivers was, but I don't think so.
Yeah, this is giving off DOA energy, dead on arrival, but we'll see. I'm not gonna root for it to fail. I hope it the best. But yeah, I'm not very optimistic about it. But even then, I'm never gonna play it anyway, so it doesn't really affect me whether it succeeds or not. Once again, another game I would be more interested in it if it was a single player game in this world, or at least PvE with other players, not just a purely PvP extraction game. I think it's the ultimate killer of this game is it being an extraction
Yeah.
shooter. It's just so many of them, and it's hard. You're competing against other people for that are are games that are well more established and free to play and have better models and been doing it for years, and they already have established fan bases. So it's pretty much impossible to break into that market unless you really stand out. And this game ultimately doesn't accomplish that, in my opinion. All right, so let's move on to IGN's gameplay of Outer Worlds 2, which it was either played by Obsidian and then sent to them, or IGN themselves played it. I'm not sure.
It's not clear. They never clarify.
Yeah. But from what they showed, it was an 11-minute gameplay footage, exclusive to IGN. It mainly focused on stealth in the game. It gave us the first-person perspective. Right off the bat, it came off as a lot more serious than Outer Worlds 1 is. I mean, obviously, there's just 11-minute snippet, so there's no sense this game's going to be way more serious. But obviously, Outer Worlds was had a lot of comedy. It was like a dark comedy. It was just,
yes.
And this game this one has more of a serious tone in terms of the gameplay that we saw. The stealth, right off the bat, was fine. The gameplay looks fine. It doesn't look anything incredible. Like Outer Worlds 1, same thing. The gameplay was good. Wasn't like amazing. You know, this typical genre, like first person shooter, open world, like it plays like a lot of them. The stealth, I wish had a stealth animation where when you kill them. I wish there was a kill animation. You kind of just poke them with the knife and they die. I was kind of disappointed by that. It would have been cool if they actually did like an animation, like Call of Duty does or something. One thing I noticed as well is the stealth. Like when you killed somebody, they noticed the body really fast, like really fast. So I wasn't sure if that's a good thing or not. But the main thing I had a problem with in this gameplay was the screen tearing. It had massive screen tearing. And I don't know if that was like Obsidian's fault or IGN's fault in the recording, but there was a lot of screen tearing in this that was very noticeable, and it distracted from the gameplay for me. But they did show characters talking, and I can't really judge the characters' faces, which is been a kind of a consistent problem, I think, with Obsidian's games right now. I think that was one problem with Avowed, was the environments were really awesome looking, but the character models were not the best. And in terms of Outer Worlds 2, they only showed characters wearing helmets. But even though we didn't get to see the characters' faces, I felt like the animation was a lot more cleaner and more expressive. Like the characters' bodies moved more. It didn't feel as static as the first game does. The characters were a lot more expressive, and they're confirming it for 2025. So that was pretty much the gist of it. What did you think of the gameplay that we saw? Oh, sounds like you're muted, Dory.
I am muted. I muted myself earlier. I am very excited for this. I loved Outer Worlds 1, and I had such a great time going back to it last year or this year. I believe it was last year. I think the graphics look really good, and I like the environments, the mesh of colors and stuff like that. I do agree it's kind of just a poke when you stab someone right in the back. I'd like that you can throw a grenade, slow down time, and then shoot it to make it explode above someone's head. That was fucking cool. I really liked that. There's definitely some dark humor. I saw that the cultist who's with you as a party member was complaining about how her former fellow cultists are killing people and there's no art to murder anymore. I thought that was definitely like dark comedy orientated. But you're right, it obviously has more of a gritty, serious vibe in places as well. One thing that annoyed me about this gameplay is that the person who sent this was a fucking sadistic monster. Give the fucking scientist a trauma kit. God damn. The option was there like 5 times. And with how slow this person was going, I love one of the comments under it. It's like, pro tip, press L3 to run. it was just like, bro, like just give them. Like, they're like, no problem, I'll just be here bleeding out. And they must have said that line like 3 times. And I'm like, dude, can you just give them the trauma kit so they'll shut the fuck up? So anyway, yeah, I mean, it looks better. You can see some with your kind of teammate who has a mask on. You can see some kind of uh, some of the mask like going into the character model and stuff, but that's pretty typical stuff. And also might be no, that is happening. Anyway, it still has the same kind of dark humor. There's crawling around in vents, which I always love to see. There's some stealth gameplay, but it's kind of marred by the fact that your teammates are constantly yelling around you while you're trying to be stealthy. Even if that doesn't actually like alert anybody, it kind of like kills the mood. You're like, come on, bro, like shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And then at the end, they actually kill the scientist. Spoilers. So I thought that was funny too. But yeah, the graphics look great. The combat still looks good. I liked the combat, but it obviously wasn't the main thing that you're playing that game for.
Yeah.
I didn't think Fallout had New Vegas. I love Fallout New Vegas, but I mean, the combat was never like the best. It's good. It's solid even, but it's not like the main thing you play it for, right? So,
but this wasn't really a great reveal of a gameplay because the person playing this was not playing it like a real person would.
right? I don't know why they crawled. Like this should have been like 5 minutes, 6 minutes.
Yeah.
Like there's no reason for it to have been 11 minutes long. I was waiting for like some big fucking reveal or something cool to happen, and it's just like the game just ends with them just walking down some stairs and using their new scanner and shit. But anyway, it was cool. I liked it. I don't notice things like screen tearing. So, and I know what it is, but I just don't see it. I believe people, obviously, that it's a thing and that it's happening and it's an issue. The devs, I guess, have reached out on the comment section and said that all footage is from a work in progress alpha build. So I wouldn't take too much stock in it. Mm-hmm. Of course, sometimes alpha builds are in poor repute or in a poor state. And then they don't get much better, right? Once they're in beta or once they're gold or whatever.
I'm not too worried about screen tearing. I think that's more of the recordings issue than the game's issue. So I trust that. And I think Avowed had a lot of issues in the alpha that people said when they played the early builds of it, and then when it came out, they fixed a lot of stuff. So, I feel like Avowed ran pretty smooth for the most part.
Yes,
I didn't really have any issues that I recall.
I didn't have any major issues with Avowed either.
Yeah, my issues with that game were related to the game itself, like the content, not so much the performance. But either way, I'm glad this game is coming out this year. It's cool that we gotten 2 big Obsidian games in the same year. Obviously, Obsidian's huge, and they have different teams. I was day one on this game anyway, so I didn't really need to see this. I kind of wish they. I mean, I'm not saying I wish I didn't see it, but it isn't really doing much for me because I already know what this kind of game this is going to be. I don't, so unless it's going to be completely worse than the first game, I'm pretty confident it's going to play like, Starfield. It's going to play like Fallout. It's going to play like Skyrim. It's, that kind of game. Avowed, but in like, science fiction setting. So yeah, I'm sold on this game unless it gets like really bad reviews or something. But it's on Game Pass as well for anyone that cares about Game Pass. So if you use Game Pass, so yeah, I mean, it doesn't change my opinion. Even if this gameplay sucked, like I'm sure it's gonna be a lot better in the future. So it didn't really do much for me, is what I'm saying. So yeah, all right. Ready to move on or anything else?
I'm good.
Okay. So let's talk about the Triple I Initiative Showcase, which was during the week, and a lot of cool games that they showed. I'm not going to go through every single game in the list because we don't have all day, and also not every game appealed to me, and I don't think every game appealed to Dory either. But I think I got a good amount of games that stood out to me that I wanted to shout out. I'm not going to go in full detail on all of them. I'm just going to hit on them just to mention a couple details, and then we'll move on to the next one. Which, starting with Sacrifier, which I think we saw at some show. I don't know, is it the Summer Game Fest or an Xbox show or something? I know I've definitely seen that before, maybe State of Play. But it's a pixel art RPG, and it mixes like a classic and modern elements, and it has like action combat. So right off the bat, it's gorgeous. It has that 2D 3D mix, RPG. It looks like a turn-based game, but it has like a mix of 2D and 3D in terms of like the characters sometimes are all like side scrolling, and then other times it's going up and down, and it really looks cool. What do you think of this game, Dory?
I thought the graphics look really impressive. The music sounds good. I'm not sure about like the religious themes. Kind of like didn't really grab me or anything like that. I'm not really. I don't know. When I think about like an RPG that I want to play, I'm not really interested in like killing the heretics. You know what I mean? It doesn't really do it for me. But
Yeah.
given I'd be a heretic for most of history. But anyway, I just like. I don't know. I liked this. I almost put it on my list, but I didn't ultimately just because the themes didn't really vibe with me. But the gameplay looks great, and I definitely agree. The 2D, 3D animation looks fantastic.
Yeah. It's giving me like Fire Force vibes. Have you ever watched Fire Force? The
I'm
anime?
aware of it. Yeah, that's the one that the firefighter anime, right?
Yeah, but it has like a religious like themes. Like there's kind of in a
Oh,
way.
does it? I had
Yeah.
no idea that was the case. I had no idea.
Yeah, they have like nuns with them and stuff. But they like
Oh,
they fight like
shit,
fire
okay.
demons, and basically it's giving me that kind of vibe with this game. And they even
Okay,
have like a
cool.
religious thing here, so that's why I was thinking of Fire
Yeah.
Force, which is a great anime.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm not
season-
saying it's going to be bad or anything like
Yeah.
that. It just didn't vibe with me. But I mean, if it gets good reviews or if
Yeah.
there's like a demo or something, I might check it out.
Yeah, and season 3 just started, by the way. If you're into Fire Force, all right. Next game was Moonlighter 2, as we talked about before. On the Xbox showcase, I think it was the indie one. The Moonlighter, cool game. It is a sequel to the shopkeeping action RPG, and it's in 3D, and it's releasing this year in the summertime. So you collect items, you go to shops, and it kind of has like that old school Zelda vibe, but like in 3D. And if you're in that kind of game with that kind of camera angle, this game's for you. It's a perfect Steam Deck game, as I said last time, and my opinion hasn't changed. I'm still interested in this game. It's a perfect Steam Deck game for me. And I think Dory said you didn't. You said you didn't have interest in this one.
I don't have much interest. It's very cute. I love the aesthetic and the vibes of it. It's very good. But I'm not usually into storefront kind of games, but it looks very good.
Yeah.
And it's got that going for it. And the gameplay looks satisfying. So hopefully it does well.
Yeah. And the next game what I have on my list is Rematch. Now, this game actually looks really cool to me. It's a soccer game made by the people that made Sifu. I watched Kinda Funny play it, and it looked like it was really fun to watch. So I imagine it's really fun to play. It was giving me like Rocket League vibes, obviously. But like obviously you're not a car, you're a person playing soccer. But like you can't kick the ball out of bounds. It's like a big arena with like walls blocking the out of bounds, and it looks like a fun game to play with your friends. Like that's really what it comes down to. I think the combos look really fun. I feel like the gameplay looked very smooth. The trick shots they were making look cool. Animation looked cool. I dig it. I'm not saying I'm like dying to play it or I'm either gonna get it, but it looks like a cool game to watch people play, and even play with your friends here and there. Comes out June 19th, which is 2 days after my birthday, and I'll keep my eye on it. But it looks cool, and they made Sifu, which is a great game, and that game had crisp animation and combos as well. So very different to go from a martial arts game to a soccer game, but hey, why not? All right, what did you think of it, or do you have any? Do you even have opinions on it?
I had very little thoughts on this game. I appreciated Sifu for what it was, but it didn't move me too much, and I played on the easiest difficulty, and I still got frustrated every now and then. Also found a cool glitch where I just fell through the floor, and that was funny. But yeah, this didn't move me. I'm not really into sports games. I don't have much to say.
Yeah. All right. The next one was Akuma, the Frozen Compass, which was like, I guess it was like Antarctic or somewhere Arctic, and it looks like a co-op game. It was reminding me of It Takes Two or Split Fiction, because it had like the split screen. So I was curious if this is a co-op game, and because you play as, because it showed one clip where you play as the boy, and then like the other screen was playing as the fox, and they were like climbing walls and going through like tunnels and looking exploring an area. It looks cool. Yeah, I thought this would be a cool game. Like you and I could play if it was co-op, for example.
Yeah.
Did you have any interest in this one? Because I thought it looked cool.
Yeah, which one again? I'm sorry, I got a DM and I was like kind of
No worries.
looking at that.
Akuma, the Frozen Compass.
Oh, Akuma. Yeah. You did say that. I remember now. Yeah, this looked cool. I don't really know. Like, I didn't get enough from it to really like form a strong opinion on it. That's kind of why it wasn't on my list. But I did like. It's a world premiere, by the way.
Is that a dog or a fox?
I did like the animation. Once I saw the climbing, I was like, I don't know, because I don't really usually like games that involve climbing and exploring.
It's a dog, not a fox. Sorry.
Oh, is it?
But it's like reddish, reddish white.
Yeah,
it's like a fox, but it's a dog.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
you know what it is? It's probably a reddish. Oh man, this is where my dog knowledge comes into play. Let's go. It's probably a red husky. I've seen those before.
I think it's a
very
husky.
Cute.
Yeah, being in the Arctic.
It's almost certainly a husky given the climate. Yeah. But yeah, I didn't have much interest just because I don't usually do exploring games, and that's what this really seemed like. Yeah. But it was cool. I mean, I liked the animation and stuff, and I don't know. That's all I really have to say. But world premiere.
I hope it's somewhat linear. I don't want like just a throw you in the world and figure it out kind of game either. So if it's that kind of game, I'm not interested. But I'll just keep my eye on it. I wish listed it, and we'll go from there. All right. The next game was The Eternal Life of Goldman, which got like a whole like interview with the composer and everything. I thought that was really cool. Let me pull it up. All right, so this was a really cool like Metroidvania. It had like really cool animation. It reminded me of Cuphead. It had like a cartoony and mixed with 3D. Like it had like old school cartoony look to it. I thought it looked awesome. Like this game really stood out. I'm surprised I'd never heard about it before. And the soundtrack was awesome. So what did you think of it, Dory?
Yeah, so I kind of like the story they told with this one, where the main guy was like, I don't know how to do a soundtrack, and a bunch of other people from like popular video games were like, and this is how you do a soundtrack. So I like that kind of little story in there. Nobody really ever does that, so I thought that was interesting. Yeah. I liked the kind of vibe that it had going on.
Yeah.
But again, the gameplay just didn't really seem for me. It seemed kind of like a platformer, puzzler kind of thing.
Yeah.
With some gameplay with some action thrown in. But I love the vibes. I love the soundtrack. Obviously, that was a big part of it, and I liked the aesthetic. So I loved those things, but I don't know if this game's for me. I would need to see like a demo or something.
Yeah. No, understandable. All right, the next game was No, I'm Not a Human, which definitely stood out in this showcase because like it was like the only horror-based game in this whole showcase, pretty much. And I feel like this would be more of a Dory game because it's very narrative focused. We make choices and dialogue heavy. So I was kind of surprised you didn't have this on your list, or at least like something that caught your eye. Maybe you just missed it, but it was definitely gory. It had people's heads blown off. Like it had like demonic stuff, crazy imagery.
Did I not have it on my list?
No.
I thought I did. Oh, okay. Well, then that explains it because I thought I did have it on my list. But yeah, I was interested in this game. But go ahead, continue.
No, yeah, and you're talking to like a woman in the room, and like a cockroach crawls out of someone's ear, and it has like a really creepy vibe, but like it reminds me of something. What was that show? A Crash Box on HBO. Do you remember? Did you ever watch that? Like it was like a kid show on HBO. No, it's like an educational thing. Anyway, it
What
had
was it called again?
Crash Box.
Crashbox.
I think it was that.
Was that with the crash test dummies?
No, it was
No.
like a robots. It had like a mix of 2D and 3D, like paper. It had a really unique look. My brother and I used to watch it a lot. I think it was really popular for kids at like late '90s, early 2000s. Anyway, it's giving me that vibe. But like in a more obviously this is more adult. Obviously there's bodies and creepy imagery. But it stood out to me. It comes out this year in the fall, so this feels like an October game. So what did you think of it? I mean, it literally ends with a girl. It literally ends with someone shooting themselves with a shotgun. And
Yeah, I mean, good stuff, right? No. Yeah, this was. Oh, is it No, I'm Not a Human?
yeah,
I thought we were talking about Neverway. Sorry. I liked this one, but I don't know. Like, I'm not really into those kind of like guessing games. Like, there's been some games lately where like you have to like guess whether people should be allowed in or allowed out. I don't know. I've never really vibed with that. I even tried like Papers, Please at one point.
yeah,
I don't really find that kind of gameplay very interesting. I also didn't vibe with the aesthetic. I
yeah,
mean, it kind of just looked grimy to me, which I know is the point, right?
yeah.
But I don't know. It was a little too far on that end for me. You know
Sure.
what I mean?
No, I can see that. It is very edgy. Too much, where it's like not appealing to a lot of people, except for a select few people. And I love
Yeah.
horror, but I don't like that grimy like serial killer like you know what I'm talking about, like just over the top gore just for the sake of gore kind of thing.
Right.
But apparently they're like imposters of humans, like they take over people's bodies. I think.
I just
They're
don't like this art style. It just looks kind of
yeah.
weird to me. I don't know. I don't gel with it personally. But yeah, I mean, it's a cool concept, and I hope the game does well. But yeah,
Yeah, no worries. All right, the first game that they showed at the showcase was Neverway, which is the same artist as
that's
Celeste.
the game I thought we were talking about. Okay.
Yeah, so this is the same artist as Celeste, and you can definitely see that, and it's with the music by Disaster Piece, and this is typically not my kind of game, I would say, but like it's kind of like old school Zelda as well. I mean, in terms of like when I say it's not my kind of game, usually it's more of like I'm not a big fan of like the retro pixel Game Boy kind of thing. But like I thought the gameplay looked cool, the music was cool, the animation was cool, and it had a cool aesthetic. The color palette was interesting. It definitely feels like a GBA game or like a Game Boy Color game, but like obviously more modern. And I'll keep my eye on it. I'm not saying I'm gonna get it, but it definitely stood out to me. I really like the art style more than anything else. What did you think of it?
Yeah, I loved this one. This was one of the first ones I think that really grabbed me. So Neverway had some interesting kind of cozy vibes, but then obviously the cozy vibes get completely ruined by just how fucked up everything is. But I love the pixel art. It looks so cool. Not really into fishing games or taking care of your fields and stuff.
Yeah.
But it looks like when you go to bed, you enter like this demon dream realm.
Yeah.
And you can talk to merchants and stuff. I'm just going through the trailer right now.
Yeah, apparently
there's some gameplay and stuff. Oh,
yeah,
go ahead.
Apparently it's a real life simulator. Like you take care of like you farm and fish and all that. But like meanwhile you're also playing as the immortal herald of a dead god. Like a dead god is using you.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So
now see that's the kind of religious stuff I'm interested in. Take note, game devs. But more seriously, this just looked fucking awesome. I don't know if I'd actually play it because again, I'm not much of a cozy type gamer.
Yeah.
I respect it, of course. Kim's a cozy gamer. So I definitely love them trying to do both,
Yeah.
but I'm not. It just sounds like I'd really like one part, but I wouldn't like another. So
Yeah.
I'd have to see more. Again, this is another case where I'd have to see reviews or a demo or people's critical reactions or something like that.
Yeah, this is a game that like it looks cool. It looks cool for me to look at and watch people do stuff, but like not something I personally would like to play. So it doesn't seem for me. But then again, I said the same thing about Celeste, and then I end up loving Celeste. So who knows? I'll keep an eye on it. The art style is immaculate. That's the main thing I love about it is the art style. All right. The next game was Opus Prism Peak, which stood out from all the games because a lot of the games had like a retro, like 2D vibe, and this was like full on anime, 3D with gorgeous character models and very colorful, nice summer vibes. This is a Dory game, 100%. Like,
Yep.
I thought of Dory as soon as it showed this. I was like, oh, it's giving me Dordon. What was it called? Dordon?
Ordonia.
The Dornia vibes. This feels like Life is Strange, kind of like take pictures, go on a little walk in the wilderness, listen
And
to
you
chill
know what
music.
we love here in this household, Seb? We love a broken adult who is looking to reconnect with the earth or whatever their life through the eyes of a child because they really just like cannot interact with adults and they interact better with children. Definitely not relevant to me at all, by the way.
Yeah.
But in general, I love that trope. I love when adults like they form like a bond with a kid and like they both learn from each other. I just think it's so wholesome and cute.
Yeah.
And like that's something that really spoke to me. I love the taking pictures and stuff like that. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
What kind of took me out of the game for a second is suddenly there were talking animals and I was like, what the fuck? Like half this felt like a grounded like slice of life anime, and then suddenly it's like Ghibli.
It makes sense
like,
though.
what the fuck?
You see through her
Yeah.
eyes, and like you're seeing through a child's like imagination. So.
Right.
So I really like.
But it looks really cool. I really liked the animation. The voice acting and the writing, I don't know, could be here, could be there. But I appreciated this game for what it was, which is a excuse to take pictures of really beautiful animation and animated environments.
Yeah, if it's like that game was it Letter? You ride on the bike.
Yeah, I was thinking about that season to the Letter to the Future or whatever. Yeah, seasons.
If this is like a cozy like 2 to 3 hour game, that'd be perfect.
Yes.
I feel like if it's any longer, it might drag or whatever. But if it's a perfect like short experience like indie game, and it's very Japanese, you can tell. It has an anime style. All right, I'm also interested in that game. I mean, I love narrative games too. Dory, like that's her like main genre, I think. But
yes, as soon as I'm done with South of Midnight, which is largely a narrative game, I will be going back to get ready for it. 2 narrative games back to back.
Yeah. So, definitely my kind of game, but definitely more Dory's kind of game. All right.
Yes.
Dusk Fade. Now this is my game of the show because I didn't expect it to be as cool as it was. Because this is my kind of genre now, like 3D platformers. I love everything about this. It has combat. It has like is a basically a anime styled boy with the sword, and is in a very colorful world. It has like a very PS2 platformer aesthetic. It reminds me of like a mix between like Jack and Daxter and Sly Cooper and Ratchet and Clank kind of thing.
He literally has a Keyblade.
And then Kingdom Hearts as well. Like literally, it's like literally a Keyblade.
Yes,
it looks awesome. Like this is totally up my alley. Like I'm day one probably already. Like I'm sold. It's a shame it's coming out next year, but hey, I'll wait. This is really cool. I'm really digging this.
I was really impressed by this showing. One of the sites I was looking at, I think it was Kotaku, but it could have been a different site, said this was one of those visually impressive of the entire showcase. And I'm tempted to agree with that. I love the graphics. I love the kind of retro, but still very pretty designs that they've got going on here. It looks really cool, but I mean, he even does this fucking Sora thing at one point. I'm ashamed of myself, honestly, because I didn't pick up on the Kingdom Hearts thing at first, but one of the Kingdom Hearts YouTubers I follow can or mentions that like he's just wearing a fucking keyblade. I'm like, you're right, like he is, and he even does the Sora pose at one point, like putting the blade on his shoulder, which seems incredibly dangerous. But yeah, I mean, I'm not big into platformers, but I don't mind if a game has some platforming. Like we'll talk about later with South of Midnight. I don't mind the amount of platforming there. Yes, exactly. He's doing the Sora smash pose. But yeah, I really liked this. This wasn't on my list because, again, I'm not sure what the ratio to platforming to action adventure is.
Yeah.
But if it's done well, if it's cooked up nicely, like I could be there.
I could have sworn I've seen this game before. Now that I think about it, like it was a YouTube.
I feel like I saw this on Twitter or something.
Yeah, I could have sworn someone's called this like a Kingdom Hearts ripoff or somewhere on Twitter or YouTube. Like I could have sworn I've seen this game before. Like I probably did, but either way, I'm okay with that. I don't unless like Mickey Mouse is gonna be in this game and we're going to like Disney worlds. Like I don't think it doesn't have. It's fine if it's inspired by Kingdom Hearts. We need more Kingdom Hearts because if Square Enix is not going to give us more Kingdom Hearts, then it's time for someone else to do it.
All right, I need everybody to listen to me really closely. Seb has unleashed the beast here. I'm going to get the mic real close to my mouth here. It has been 3 years, Square Enix. We have no updates. What is happening? Thank you for your time. I will not be elaborating or accepting questions.
All right, so Void Breaker. This game stood out as well. Again, a lot of games were like retro, pixel art kind of games, and this was like first-person shooter, crazy action, pixels everywhere on the screen, a lot of shooting robots, and just just chaos. And it definitely seems like a roguelite because his run, 105, 106, 300. So this seems like it's a fast-paced roguelike shooter. The playtest actually comes out April 10, 2 days ago till now. So it's actually happening right now. You can play it right now as a playtest, and it looks cool. What'd you think of it?
I thought it looked awesome. I'm very mixed on roguelikes, and I've been pretty open about that.
Yep.
Yes, it is a roguelike, and I'm pretty mixed on the whole idea of like you lose all your progress and stuff, because that's one of my fucking pet peeves. Not just in video game, but in life, but mostly in video games. But this looks so good. The gameplay looks so good. It's so fast paced. The destructible environments, the different kinds of powers you get. I mean, I at least want to try the game, the play test at least. It looks really cool.
Yeah, it definitely stood out and looks really cool. But again, I'm not really a big roguelike fan, so it might be one of those things like it looks cool in a trailer or cool in a showcase, and then I end up not playing it. But we'll see. All right, so my last game in the showcase was Morbid Metal, which also stood out as well. I keep saying that, but like, I like that the showcase had a lot of different types of genres and games. This was a pure like Devil May Cry action game, like hack and slash game. You're doing combos in the air, and it looked really cool. It had like the protagonist or the character you play as, like a robot. He was wearing he had like Japanese looking armor. He had the hat and everything. And it looked really fun to play. I really liked the Devil May Cry kind of combos. What did you think of it?
Yeah, I definitely got big DMC vibes as well. It looked kind of the Japanese kind of style.
Yeah.
Again, with the kind of like the aerial combat that it had going on, the flashy animations. You can like kick people up into the air. You can kick them while they're in the air.
Yeah.
I don't really know like what's going on. There's some a little bit of bullet hell going on during like a boss fight at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks really fucking cool, and I'm definitely keeping my eye out on this one.
Yeah, I got a feeling it's gonna be a hard game. It just has that vibe to it. As soon as I see bullets and storm stuff, like I just know this game's gonna be challenging. It's probably not gonna have a major story or anything. It's probably gonna be pure like gameplay kind of game. And I have no problem with that.
It's a hack and slash action roguelite where you can shapeshift into unique characters to slaughter enemies with powerful combos, switch characters in real time, and deadly machines and intense bosses. Yeah, that's code for this game is going to be tough.
Yeah. And I'm like I said, I'm not a big roguelite fan, so that does sour it a little bit for me because as Dory said, I don't like losing my progress. I don't
Yes.
I don't like
It
that.
doesn't look like a roguelite. I got way more DMC vibes than I got like,
Yeah.
roguelite vibes,
Maybe it's
but I don't
like
know.
maybe it's one of those like you survive kind of things. Like you put in a room and you just fight enemies the entire time and you survive as
Yeah.
long as you can and you progress that way, but I don't know. All right, that's my last game and then Dory's last game was Tears of Metal. So can you talk about Tears of Metal?
Yeah, Tears of Metal,
Or
Tears of Metal. I think it's Tears.
Tears. This is my
Yeah,
accent.
I really liked this. This was I'm gonna be honest. I have a soft spot for Scotland. Okay, one of my favorite writers loves Scotland,
Yeah.
so I kind of love Scotland. And I'm not big into Dynasty Warriors, but I have a passing oh, this looks cool.
Yeah.
Even if it would probably get repetitive or samey. But yeah, I mean, it just looks fun. I like the kind of cartoony graphics, but they're not for everybody. Obviously, it looks very indie, but I enjoyed what I saw. I don't think I'll actually buy it, but I wanted to highlight it because it looks cool.
And it's roguelite as well. It
Oh,
looks like
God damn it!
it has that thing where like in Hades where you get like 3 skills you pick from. You know do you remember talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, it has that. So maybe
Oh, you're right. You're right, and I did see that. Yeah. So again, another reason why I might not get it, but
yeah.
it stood out to me, so I'm gonna mention it.
Yeah, it looks cool and again stood out compared to the other games. And this is a great thing about this showcase was everything was different and stood out from each other. The only thing I didn't like about it, I didn't like the animation. I just thought like it looked a little off for me. Like it looked too indie for me. But it was pretty cool. So open beta started already, so you can play it right now. Try it out and go from there. All right, so that was the Triple I Initiative Showcase. Obviously, there was more games shown, but we only picked the ones that interested us. And we picked a lot of games, though. And overall, I'm not saying I'm going to buy all these games, but I'm definitely interested. And I thought overall it was a really good showcase. I was happy with what I was seeing. Obviously, this is an indie showcase, so this is for like the hardcore gamers that play a lot of games and try out different things. If you're like a AAA, big cinematic, you only play the certain games a year, this is not kind of showcase for you. But for Dory and I thought it was a successful showcase, and I like that as Dory said, there was no bullshit. It got right to the point. No
Yes.
interviews and all that kind of stuff. Really, it was just pure gameplay.
That's my favorite thing, and it goes underappreciated about showcases like this. There is no ads, no presenters. It's just games to game, and like every now and then they give you like I don't know, like 30 seconds or less. And they'd be like, "Hey, you still there? Great. Catch your breath. Take a deep breath. All right, more bangers. Let's go."
Yeah,
And I love that shit.
for sure. All right, so that concludes our news topics. So now we're going to talk about 3 games. We're going to spotlight 3 games, and they're going to be Metal Eden's demo, the First Berserker Khazan, and South of Midnight, which is our thumbnail and our main topic. All right, so Dory played Metal Eden's demo.
Yeah. So for those who don't remember, Metal Eden was I want to say it was in the Sony State of Play a month or so ago.
Yeah.
I want to say that, but I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure. And a lot of people immediately were like, "Okay, we have Doom at home, basically in space." And yeah, kinda. It's not exactly. There's not like glory kills and stuff like that. It's not nearly as bloody, but it is a little bloody for sure. But I liked it for the most part. It's very pretty. The aesthetic is very nice. I've been saying aesthetic in 5 and so much lately. I'm only going to say it more too when we talk about South of Midnight. But it's got kind of like a dystopian, cybernetic, technologically advanced thing going on that I really appreciate. That kind of differentiates it quite vastly from Doom. There were some FPS drops or frames drops. I should not FPS drops, frame drops every now and then. FPS. But yeah, because I was thinking like first person shooter instead of frames per second.
Yeah.
But yeah, there were some FPS drops here and there, and that's worrying in a game like that. But the good news is that the devs are taking any and all feedback. They've been pretty responsive on their Twitter account. So I would expect the full game that comes out next month to hopefully be a little more polished and more optimized. They said that they're going to focus on that. I liked how punchy the guns were. Everything felt really crisp. The movement was good. I just wish the guy in your head would shut the fuck up. There's this guy who's basically your handler or whatever, and he's constantly like da 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 da, and he's always so edgy, so moody, so like dramatic, and I'm like, dude, I don't care about the story. Like in games like this, especially like I get annoyed at Doom fans too. It's like I don't give a shit about the story. I'm here to do a couple things. I'm here to kick ass, take names, chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of gum, so I got to do the first two. That's not how the saying goes. I messed it up. But anyway, you got my point, right? I'm not here for the story. I don't give a shit why Doom Guy is in hell for the millionth time, right? I'm there to fucking kill demons. It's hell. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
I know some people do, and that's great for you. And I understand there's like, I do get it. Like, there is kind of a fascination with games that don't focus on the story, that are like, oh, but if you really go into the story, it's really interesting. Like, that's cool, but not for me personally. But this was good. I had a good time with it. I felt like the gunplay was, it's not doing anything innovative or whatever. There's, a pistol, a shotgun, a machine gun, whatever. And everything felt, like I said, punchy. My aim never really felt off. The movement with wall running and jumping and getting from place to place felt good. There's a lot of pickups and very obvious battle arenas. So again, very Doom inspired. The main mechanic that I noticed was extracting cores from the enemies that you're fighting. Basically, what you can do is you can absorb it to get health, or you can throw it at the enemies like a bomb. And that's fun. Usually you're going to want to, later on in the demo, which was about an hour for me, maybe a little less. I don't remember exactly. But basically, you usually wanted to be absorbing them because it gives you health, but it also gives you like a super punch, and that can break through enemies' shields, especially the bigger enemies. I think I only died once or twice, but yeah, it was good. I keep like going back to like it was good. I don't like it. Felt like a 7 out of 10 for me, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like it was good, didn't blow me away. There's little things I didn't like, but overall the package felt solid enough that I would play it. Maybe not day one, but I'd play it on a sale, or I'd play it for off the tail of like really good reviews.
All right. So that is Metal Eden's demo. So now I'm going to talk about the First Berserker Khazan, which is a Souls-like game. So right off the bat, the First Berserker Khazan is a hardcore action RPG. It is based on Dungeon Fighter Online universe, which is Nexons. It's one of their it's their flagship IP. And they claim that it has 800 million players worldwide. This game is set 800 years before the events of that game. And it says the game unfolds on the continent of Arid, I think it's how you say it, and explores the untold story of Khazan, the first Berserker. Players will experience Khazan's legendary journey firsthand as they master intricate and engaging combat mechanics and strategic battles that bring his epic tale to life. So, Khazan is a Souls-like game, so it is a hard game. It not just hard, but very hard. It's one of the hardest Souls-like games I've ever played. I think it's on the level of Sekiro, Lies of P, and Neo. So if you're in that kind of game, you'll really like this game. If you don't like that kind of game, or you're very new to it, you've only played like Elden Ring or something, or Bloodborne, this game is going to kick your ass, and you probably get frustrated and not like it. This game is very hard. It is very hardcore. It is specifically for that niche audience, the most hardcore audience. So I'm curious how well it's sold, because it's going to appeal to only a certain amount of people. But the combat system is deep. It has a variety of play styles. You can play different weapon styles. I believe they said the most played weapon is the spear, which I've been using as well. But you can dual weapons. You can use a great sword. You can use a spear. And you can throw like a javelin and things like that. I think the spear is the best because it hits like multiple enemies at the same time. So when you fight like 4 enemies at the same time in a Souls game, that can be really hard. But like it allows you to like keep a distance and take on the enemies and do combos that hit all the enemies at the same time. So I think it's very helpful to use the spear. All right, so in this game, it's all about managing your health and your stamina. You're gonna be blocking and parrying and dodging a lot, and you have to manage your stamina in battle because you'll die a lot in this game, mainly because you run out of stamina and you can't block or parry at the right time, and it can be really challenging. You lose your stamina really fast in this game, so you have to make sure you put your skill points into stamina because that's what makes this game really difficult, is managing the stamina, which is normal in a Souls game, but especially in this game, they made it especially hard. But it is fun trying out different weapons, different play styles. Obviously, the Great Sword is heavier, so you're going to have more power, but slower gameplay. While dual wielding, less power, but more agile, more stamina. And the spear is kind of like a balance of the two, I think, as I talked about. So this game is hard. So just be mindful. This game is very hard. It's very parry-based. A lot of parrying. It's very Sekiro-like, very Liza P-like. It has this mission structure like Neo, where you go to a main hub, and then you go to the hub and you pick what part of the map you want to do, and it's like a mission structure, and then it takes you to the mission. You do a mission, you'll say mission complete when you finish it, and then you go back to the main hub. So that's exactly how it is. That's exactly how Neo is. All right. You need to be patient when you play this game. Take your time. Don't rush into things. You'll die a lot if you just like run into everything. The boss fights are very tough, like extremely tough. There is a learning curve as normal, and that feels rewarding when you complete it. But just be mindful; it's going to be a frustrating time. There are difficulty options. There is an easier mode, and once you pick it, you're stuck in it. It's a permanent choice, but it's still hard even in the easy mode. But I'm personally playing on the normal mode though, and I think what makes the bosses so hard is that they have such giant health pools, and when you think you're done, they have a second phase with also a large health pool. So it can be really annoying, and I think it's one of the cons of this game. I think they could have tweaked the bosses a bit and made them as like long in terms of the health, because like you have to be like really good for a long time. You know what I mean? Like other Souls games, you can like really gear up and like do massive damage to the boss and like be more aggressive and take risks and things like that because you're doing more damage and you don't have to be perfect for like 40 minutes. But in this game, like when you're fighting, like you have to be near perfect at times or you just get like just massacred. All right, the storyline I think is mostly cool. I think it's pretty standard, but I think it's interesting enough. It follows Khazan's journey of revenge. He gets betrayed, and he's like a legendary figure, and he gets betrayed anyway. So he's had to be a hero, but then he gets accused of something, and he sides with an evil spirit who tries to possess his body. And he basically, this is kind of a little bit of a spoiler, but this is like an hour or two in. He makes a deal with the evil spirit. I'll help you what you want, which is like taking over the world. Like they're like demons. They take it over the world for like their boss, who's like, I guess they don't say it's Satan, but it's like, like a devilish, demonic kind of being. And he makes a deal with them. I'll help me get what I want, my revenge, and I'll help you get what you want. So it's a cool dynamic in that sense. The story starts off a bit slow with the pacing and everything, but starts picking up in the second half, I think. I think one of the coolest things about this game that makes it stand out is it has a very strong anime, like dark visual. It has a very Berserk, if you know Berserk, art style that looks really cool. This game is very pretty and a very cool art style. It has it reminds me of like Scarlet Nexus, like that grimy but like black dark shading around the characters. Like it's not realistic, but it has like a very strong anime with like dark outlines around it that stand out. It says the narrative kicks off with an intriguing setup, and I talked about that. And the plot, well, I've seen people criticize the plot later on that gets weaker at the end, but I'm not I'm not there yet, so I couldn't tell you that part. But so far, I think the story is pretty good. It's a typical revenge story. I feel like when they show like the story, like it has that typical thing like after you complete a mission, it will give you like what happened in the past using like character like art like drawn characters and exposition in that sense, and it's kind of cool, but it's not like anything that's like totally draw me in. Obviously, the gameplay is the main draw of this game. The structure, this game is very, like I said, it's very linear in sense that like you pick a mission, you do whatever missions ask you to do. Typically, the mission is collecting something or fighting the boss at the end of the mission, and that's it. This game is very simple in that sense. It's kind of shallow. Don't expect like an open world. Like it's not Elden Ring or anything like that. It's not something. There's nothing to explore. It's like purely linear hallways, linear paths, fighting enemies, going from point A to point B. That's one problem with this game. I think is very repetitive in terms of like the hallways look similar to each other or the areas look similar to each other. You're fighting a lot of the same enemy types, and I think some of the missions go on for a little too long, in my opinion. They could be cut down a bit. I'm not saying they look completely the same. Like obviously some areas look really different. Like there's one area where you're fighting like giant spiders and like there's cool webs everywhere, and there's a lot of other areas where like you're purely in like snowy area. There's one that's like dragon enemies like dragonoid enemies everywhere. It's just that like when you're in those areas, it's like the areas themselves look similar way too much. Like you're constantly like room after room is not that much different from each other, and just goes on and on. So I think this game is very simplistic in that sense. And the weapon, like I said, the weapon switching is really good. There's a lot of great flexibility, but IGN said that their flexibility is clunky, like when you're making like weapon changes in combat, which yeah, it's true. It's difficult to switch weapons like that mid combat. You have to go to the menu and all that. But I personally didn't do that anyway. I stuck with the spear mainly, and I would change my gear like when I'm in the hub. So I didn't like feel like that was an issue. But overall, I think it's a great game. I agree with the Metacritic score. I got it like an 80, and I that's what I would give it as well. It's an 8 out of 10 for me. And I think it's the top 10. It's a top 10 game for me for sure. It's in my top 5 right now. I don't think it will stay. It might not stay in my top 5 because a lot of great games will be coming out this year as well. But I could definitely see this being my top 10. It is a really good game. You just got to know what you're getting into. This is one of the harder Souls games. This is very much so like Neo. Like Neo had the same mission structure where you go to the map and you pick the mission you're gonna do, and this game has very Neo heavy vibes. Like it reminds me of Neo 1 and 2. And if you really like that and you like being punished, you're a glutton for punishment, this is the game to play, because this game is definitely going to be probably the hardest game I've played this year. Newest game, I mean. And yeah, if you're a Souls fan, definitely get it. If you're not into that kind of genre, this is not for you. But overall, this game has an awesome art style, cool music, really fun gameplay, challenging gameplay, but fun gameplay. But just be mindful, very simplistic mission design, repetitive like looking levels, and the mission structure, the missions get very repetitive. Like the side missions are just like doing the same shit. Like you fight the same boss you already fought before, like that kind of thing where you're just fighting a repeat boss that you already fought. And I think the bosses are a little too long and too much health pool, and some of them should not have second phases. It's just ridiculous because you run out of items and health and that kind of thing. So yeah, it's a Souls game. So really good game. Recommend. All right. Finally, last topic of the night, which is South of Midnight. Dory, do you want me to kick off talking about it, or do you?
I can talk about it. You've been talking for a while.
All right, go ahead. So, what did you think of South of Midnight? What are the aspects of the game that you like and don't like?
Right. So South of Midnight, for those who have been out of the loop, is from Compulsion Games. They did We Happy Few, plus some games before that I'm not really familiar with, but We Happy Few was like one that got them in the spotlight for better or worse. Yeah, South of Midnight is set in, I know this is going to be shocking for many of you, but the American South, specifically in the areas where they have kind of bayous, kind of a Louisiana feel to it.
Yeah.
Um, there you play a girl named Hazel. She is, I think, like high school age, it seems. She lives with her mother. They go through this horrible hurricane, and their house gets blown away with Hazel's mother in it.
Yeah.
And so that's not spoilers. I mean, that's the whole story. That's literally been shown on every trailer.
Sure.
But yeah, so that's basically the whole story. Is Hazel trying to get to her mama? She must say the word mama like, I don't know, a million times.
Southern thing.
But yeah, Southern thing. It's a good game. It's a pretty good, that Larry David jive where it's like pretty good, pretty good. That's how I feel about South of Midnight. I think it's a little better than Atom Fall, because I feel like it has more heart and the story's a little better,
Yeah.
while the gameplay is basically just as good. If I had to give it a score, and I'll talk about the pros and cons in a second, but I'd probably give it like a 7.5 or something. Like I'm really close to giving it an 8.
Yeah.
Or a Starfield 8, as I like to say, like just barely an 8. But
Sure.
I'd probably give it an 8 before I gave it a 7. There's a lot of heart to this. This has authenticity out the wazoo, like the feel of it, the look of it, the voice acting, the accents, just everything. Everything that this game does feels so uniquely Southern. And it's great. I mean, you don't get a lot of media like this. Like, honestly, the first media I can think of that does like Louisiana bayous is fucking Scooby-Doo and the Zombie Island, which came out in like the late 90s, right? Great movie, by the way, holds up.
Princess and the
But
Frog.
like,
I think of like Princess and the Frog and
right, Princess and the Frog's a good one, although that has the troubling trope of turning a black character into an animal for about half the film. But still, yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. But yeah, I mean, this is a great addition
and
to
Gambit.
And Gambit, yes, Gambit too. He's got the kind of Louisiana kind of, I'm cooking up some gumbo kind of
Yeah.
vibe to him.
Yeah.
Some things that I liked and some things that I didn't like. First off, I really like I know this is going to be divisive to some people, although I don't really see why it should, because Spider-Verse was such a hit. But some people are not going to like the stop motion stuff. I personally don't mind it. I like it. I think it gives it its own unique flair. If I were to invoke Office Space for a second here, it gives it its own sort of thing that it has over other games like it. This game really feels like a throwback, like an Xbox 360 throwback that got a really cool HD remaster and some remapping of controls and like maybe new voice work or something, so maybe closer to a remake. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's good. It's the gameplay is fun. It's not. This is where we get to the conversation about innovation. Nothing this game is doing on the gameplay front, because I've been talking so much about story and atmosphere and voice acting. Nothing it's doing gameplay wise is like, oh, amazing, must see. But that's okay. I think the main star here is the atmosphere, the characters, the plot, all these stories that Hazel is seeing, because Hazel's basically this thing called the Weaver. So she goes through and finds people's traumas, and then she tries to like heal them from it. And I think all the stories are really well done. I mean, they pretty much all involve death at some point, so it's a little repetitive in that sense. But they're all tragic. The first one especially really got to me as someone who's neurodivergent and has been bullied for being different, and has witnessed other people being bullied for that. So that one really hit me personally. But there's other stories of classism. There's stories of family. There's stories of abuse. Nothing, it's nothing like too hard hitting in terms of like showing anything. But there's obviously a lot of implications and a lot of like, you kind of know what's going on, right? The game spells it out pretty much for you. I found the boss fights to be fun and pretty forgiving. There's basically like 3 checkpoints. So you get them to like, 50%, and then you get them to like 25%, and you get checkpoints every single time. There's always like little pools of health that you can press on my Xbox controller. It's the Y button, but you can always get some more health if you need it. It's just about learning the bosses, their moveset and stuff like that. Again, I feel like all the characters are really well motivated. Hazel is a great character. She does talk to herself a little bit too much, but I mean, we've all been there, right? I mean, at least I've been there. I talk to myself all the damn time. So I like Hazel a lot. Every now and then she'll say a line, and I'm like, I don't know that you needed to say that, Hazel. But like generally, I find her a charming, good character. There are some negatives. I'll go through the negatives real quick, and then Seb can take over.
Yeah.
There's a lot of squeeze throughs. And normally I wouldn't make mention of this, but it's really blatant. Like I think there's a squeeze through per chapter, like, or if not, at least every other chapter. It's not a huge deal, but it is noticeable. And I'm kind of already over this trope. I was kind of already over it when it happened in Final Fantasy. But yeah, it's just a little annoying. And it's not a big deal, but it's annoying. I do think that the game, about 5 hours in, is starting to get a little repetitive. You go somewhere, you clean up what they call the haints and the I forget what it's called, but basically like a concentration of negative energy, and you clean out 3 or 4, and you get a backstory on one of the characters or the boss or whatever that you're about to fight. Not always bosses. Sometimes it's just like a tragic backstory, and then you have to do some platforming and exploration, which is really good. The platforming and movement, I think, is one of the best parts. It's really fun. Took me a tiny bit to get used to it, but once I did, I was schmoovin'. I feel like speedrunners are gonna love this game because as I'm playing, I'm about 5 hours in and I'm almost halfway done with the game. I'm finding all these little tiny optimizations. Like, for example, when the battle is done, like the little spiky tendrils that would be in your way for getting out of an arena lose collision. So you can just like run right out of the arena and you don't have to wait for it to fully dissolve. I don't know that that's actually useful to anyone, but I just think it's cool. I love stuff like that as a speedrunner.
Yeah.
But yeah, I in general, I really like the story. I love the music. Every time that you are doing a boss or you're towards the end of a chapter, I'm on chapter 9 out of 14. So I'm a little bit over halfway actually, but because there's 14 chapters. Every time you get to a boss or like a really important part, there'll be music in the background, and it's great. My only problem is sometimes I wish that they would put the lyrics on the screen because I do have closed captions on and I have subtitles. And I'll tell you, the music never, like, you never hear the lyrics to any of the songs. And I understand it might conflict with Hazel or it might look a little messy UI wise, but I don't know. Usually it's pretty clear what they're saying because the vocal track is so emphasized because obviously they want to tell that story musically. So it's not like, again, nothing like a huge deal, but a little thing that I think to myself, like, I wish this had lyrics popping up at the bottom so I could really follow the story and catch those little small nuances that are really important to it. But again, not a huge deal. Voice acting is great. The fun fact that we've talked about before, the guy who's the catfish is not even a voice actor. He's just some random guy from the South who they found and hired him, and he does awesome. I don't know who the fuck this guy is. Well, obviously the credits will say, right? And I'm pretty sure they've said in interviews. I don't remember his name, but he does awesome. So kudos to him. This is somehow his first voice acting gig, and he smashes it. I love the catfish every time he's around. So yeah, it's a pretty good game. I'm really tempted to say it's a great game. I need to get to the end, see what I really think. But overall, I mean, again, to quote Larry David, pretty good, pretty good.
So, South of Midnight to me is a really good game. I really like it. It's a top 10 game of the year for me so far. First of all, I really love the animation. I think it stands out. It has like that Into the Spider-Verse kind of vibe to it, aesthetic to it.
Yes.
The frame rate just never bothered me. I'm playing at a high frame rate, and I think it looks cool with like the mix of like lower frame rate and higher frame rate at the same time, the stop motion. It is a very pretty game. The visuals is the best part of the game, in my opinion.
Yes.
This game has really awesome environments. The character models look really good as well. They have a very unique art style that makes it stand out, which I appreciate. It's not going for, because I don't want every game to be ultra realistic. It's good to have a mix of, like Last of Us kind of looking games, like really pretty realistic environments and characters, and then having unique art styles, which this game really has. So this game is extremely pretty. Second, I really like the story, and I really like the idea of like the themes and the characters and the spirituality of this game. As a Southerner myself, and someone that lives in Florida and lives in swampy, areas, and a lot of this game resonates with me. I mean, a lot of this is similar. Like Louisiana and Florida are very similar. And obviously, I don't relate to the sense that I'm not black and I'm not uh, Haitian or not spiritual and all of that. But I do know all these things, like what it's referencing, and I've heard these stories growing up and things like that. Like with the alligator with the two toes and things like that. Like it's a famous Southern story, and I really think it was a good idea to make Hazel and other characters black because I believe that originally she was going to be white and they made her black. I think it works better in this sense because it can hit on the African American spirituality a lot stronger when the main character is black, and it
Right.
hits on Haitian culture especially because obviously a lot of Haitian culture in where I live. Obviously,
Yes.
most of my students are Haitian. A lot of them are, and a lot of but in Louisiana because obviously a lot of people from Haiti moved to New Orleans, that's why there's a lot of Mardi Gras and things like that. It's a lot, that all comes from Haiti. And this game obviously tackles that with Papa Legba and the Crossroads and making a deal, all that kind of stuff, like with Crossroads, and it hits on all that, which is awesome because like it's good. You don't really get to see that in video games. So I think representation matters. I'm one of those people that think representation matters. I know this game is already being super criticized by the crowd with the DEI and Sweet Baby and all that stuff. So, but I don't think this game is like pushing an agenda or anything. I think it's just hitting on spirituality that happens in the South, like as people believe, and that's their beliefs. And I think it tackles it very nicely. I don't think it's like forced, or I think it does a great job celebrating Southern culture and hitting on the important themes, and really great. It does a really good job with that. I think it does a great job hitting, like doing cool like bosses, making cool bosses out of like famous Southern stories and legends and myths and stuff like that. The alligator and the turning into the owl, and those things are all really cool. Um, I think the storyline with her mom and the grandmother, like the mystery behind the grandmother and what she's up to, I really like that. I like I like Hazel's relationship with her mom. It's like I know it's like it. She has a mixed relationship with her, and she's having issues, and hopefully gets resolved at the end, and all that kind of stuff. I really was into that. I wish some of the side characters were in the game a little more. They kind of like the I thought the cool story with the alligator like turning on his owner because the daughter like did something. I wish
Yep.
they hit on that a little more, and like I wish they like confronted her for doing that or that kind of thing. Maybe they will later, but they just kind of moved on from it. I would have liked that explored a little more, but overall, I think the storyline is really good. I'm really invested in it. It's nothing like I'm not like blown away. I'm not saying it's gonna be like one of the greatest stories I ever played or anything like that. But I really appreciate the representation and the themes about guilt. This game is very. You would think this game is like a rated for T or like rated for kids or whatever. Like it's a family game that people can all play. This is not Princess and the
No.
Frog. It's a lot of swearing, a lot of themes about death and guilt and depression and things like that. It's definitely a darker game. As Dory talked about, the voice acting is really good, especially the catfish. I really like him. He's a great narrator. It really fits the tone of the game. I really like all the. I really like the characters' accents. I really like the characters. Like they feel very authentic. I really like that the music all fits whatever you're fighting or whatever characters you're around. Their songs are really good. In fact, the soundtrack is really good. I really hope. Actually, I hope the soundtrack gets nominated at the Game Awards this year.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't win, I hope it just gets nominated because this game has a fantastic soundtrack. Like it's one of the best parts of this game for sure. Is the music. The music is absolutely awesome, and I've been really enjoying that. But where this game falls apart, which it's still fine, but where this game definitely doesn't do as well is the gameplay. Obviously, it's a video game, and gameplay is king. So when the gameplay is not great, it definitely hurts the game overall. Um, I think the combat in this game is very simple, nothing great. It's very repetitive. It gets into that like PS3, 360, or even PS2 pattern where like you do platforming and then you go in an arena like, as soon as you see an area that's like round and has a thing in the middle, like, oh, okay, I have to fight just to get by. It does that like 25 times, 30 times. Like, it literally, like, you just know, okay, I'm going in a combat arena. I'm going to have to fight these enemies. And you're just fighting the same enemies over and over and over and over. And it gets very
I will say that the game does steadily introduce new powers,
It
new
does.
enemies,
It does.
and like new kind of environments to work around. I don't disagree, by the way, that it gets repetitive. I don't think it bothered me as much as it bothered, although it's starting to bother me actually. Just where I got to chapter 9, I started to think, geez, I'm starting to get
Well,
kind of tired of this. But yeah,
it doesn't bother me in the sense that, like, I don't think it's horrendous because this game is short.
right.
Like, the combat sections are not long. Like, they're only like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. So it's not like I'm stuck in this frustrating,
Right.
repetitive gameplay loop.
And you can always turn on easier, not that you or I would do this, but you can turn on easier difficulty at any time to make the enemies even easier.
That and so it's not like destroying the game for me or anything like that, but it's definitely the weakest part of the game. And I think the platforming is very simple as well. It's like every other third person platformer game. Like, it reminds me of like Jedi Fallen Order. Like, you just wall running on the walls and jumping on logs and across the rivers, and it's just basic, platforming. It's nothing amazing. It's just fine. There's nothing. It's nothing. I don't think it's bad. It's nothing bad about the gameplay. It's just whatever. It's just generic, bland, mad, whatever you want to call it. It's like mediocre. It's just fine. How about that? It's whatever. Um, as Dory mentioned, there's a lot of squeezing through walls in this game. A lot of just very modern in that sense. A lot of games are doing this now, where you're like constantly squeezing through cave walls, cave entrances. There's a lot of collections in this game. There's a lot of things to collect to make this game longer for you. Is if you want to collect everything, there's orbs everywhere to collect to get skill points, and there's also a records, like documents, and Hazel will make comments about them, so it adds to the story. There's a lot of like lore in this game that you can explore around, so don't just like feel like you have to always constantly go straight. This game does have a waypoint like thing. You hit the stick and it will create like a path for you. It shows you exactly where to go. So if you want to just streamline this game, you can, but there's definitely a lot of extra collectibles to find. If you strongly recommend doing that, because you'll fly through this game if you just speed through it. But unless you're okay with that, which is fine. All right, so I think I hit on everything: the music, the gameplay, the characters, the story. Yeah, I think I hit on everything. I would say for me this is an 8 out of 10. So I like this game more than Dory. But
Which is weird.
But I also typically like linear platforming story based games more more than a lot of people. It's like one of my favorite genres. I love these kind of games where it's like a nice 9-10 hours, great cinematic experience, cool visuals, you get to experience music, combat doesn't have to be great. You know what I mean? So I appreciate that a lot. I'm digging the story and the characters and the music so much that like the gameplay being okay is fine to me, because it's not bad. If it was like horrendous, where like the camera was horrendous, it's frustrating, I'm stuck in a part because I'm stuck in a corner because the enemies are cheap, or if it was that kind of level of bad, then yeah. But I don't know. Some people are talking about this gameplay as it's like the worst thing ever kind of thing, and I'm like, it's just fine. But I think the reviews are accurate. Like, I could definitely see this game being a 7 out of 10 for a lot of people. It's an 8 out of 10 for me because this thing, it has aspects that I like more than other people, I think. Because I appreciate a linear game. Because I'm playing Assassin's Creed Shadows. I'm playing like open. I'm playing like open world games all the time. It's nice to have a break from these giant open world games that just throw you in the world and make you figure it out. I appreciate just being able to follow a linear path, follow a great story, follow basic gameplay, and just have a good time. I think this is going to be one of my if it's not in my top 10 games, it's definitely gonna be my honorable mentions, or at least it's one of the most underrated games because I think it's getting a lot of flack for being on Game Pass, being like Game Pass what fodder. No, like it's we just put it on there because because I know people are making comments, but it's not selling very well, and they just put it on. Game Pass is hurting its sales and that kind of thing, and it has not done well on Steam, and it doesn't seem like this game is selling very well. So people are pushing the whole woke game not selling well again. It's the
Which
new,
is fucking stupid because Baldur's Gate 3, the most woke game of all time. Anyway, sorry.
yeah.
Dumb argument.
But I don't pay attention to that anymore. So
Yeah.
I'm having a great time. I bought this game myself, so I supported the devs. But this is on Game Pass. This is a great Game Pass game.
Yep. It's a great Game Pass game. I absolutely recommend playing this through Game Pass. I think the gameplay and the combat is definitely the weakest part, but I still think it's fun. There are moments here and there where button inputs won't register, and that can be annoying, or maybe I'm mistiming things.
Sure.
But overall, I'm having a good time with this game, and it's going to be in my top 10 just by design, just because I haven't played more than 10, more than 10 2025 games. But I'm really liking it, and I hope to see more from Compulsion in this vein.
Yeah.
We're really seeing like a revival of like classic PS3, 360, even PS2 kind of linear games, and I love it. Like I like that.
I think we're all. I think everybody's getting sick of open world, everything being 100 hours long, and
Yes.
that kind of thing. I'm glad to see it too. I like a next mix. That's my thing. Is I don't need to have every game to be because that was an issue too back in the day. Like, around that time, it was nothing but linear games, and everything was like hallway. You just go straight. And every game became that, and then they overcompensated, and then it's totally shifted to everything being like 100 hours. Oh, I have to justify my $60 purchase, and the game has to be 100 hours to justify it, and that kind of thing. And no, you don't. All right, I think that's everything. I think we hit on everything. So Dory says 7.5 to an 8, somewhere around there, and I say an 8.
Yeah,
and which is not too. We're pretty close. And we both think it's a good game. I'm not saying it's a phenomenal game. It's not. I don't think it's a game of the year contender. I don't think anything like that. It's not going to be in my top 5. But I'm really having a great time with it. So, all right, and that concludes our episode. Next week we're going to be talking about Lost Records Tape 2, so we can finally get the mystery solved, because I've been itching to know what the hell's going on. Because it ended on such a crazy cliffhanger, and I'm glad we're finally gonna be able to play it on Tuesday. I'll probably beat it that night, just like power through it like I did the first episode, and then Dory, you can play it next week as well, and we'll talk about it in full detail. Not a spoiler cast, but we'll keep it spoiler free, but enough. And I'll probably talk about Assassin's Creed Shadows as well, so I can fit it in. So, and then we'll see what news comes out next week as well.
All right, bye everybody. Saturday night.